patterns of mine. I even started selling my own dubbing from my kids' pet rabbits. And I don't know, it's been a lot of fun.
Cool.
Been interesting for sure.
That's wild. So it's like a whole family ordeal. They raise the rabbits, you harvest the fur, and
Oh, no, I raise the rabbits. They just pet them every
okay.
Yeah, make no mistake. When you can ask for a pet rabbit, you're doing most of the work.
Welcome to Guys Fishing Weekly. We don't just fish, we hug.
Hey, buddy.
Eddie, how are you, dude?
What's going on, dude?
I'm chilling, man. Loving life. How about you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm a do-gooder.
You're a do-gooder.
I'm sure that just made your skin curl.
Do-gooder. Yeah. Ed, who we got on the show today?
Well, before we get into that, today's show is sponsored by Trout Routes. Winter trout fishing can be a challenge, but it's also one of the most rewarding seasons to be on the water. To make the most of it, you need the right tools, and that's where Trout Routes Pro comes in. With satellite imagery and detailed maps of over 50,000 trout streams, you can scout winter-friendly spots like deep pools, tailwaters, and areas that stay ice-free. Planning your trip is easier than ever with over 350,000 access points mapped, plus custom markers that let you track your favorite winter runs or places to warm up. You can even check stream flows and water temperatures to ensure you're fishing in the most productive conditions. Winter fishing is about precision and preparation. Let Trout Routes Pro be your guide to finding the perfect stretch of water this season. Podcast listeners can save 20% on their first year of Trout Routes Pro by using code WEEKEND2025 at maps.troutroutes.com. That's 20% off your first year of Trout Routes Pro by using code WEEKEND2025 at maps.troutroutes.com. Today on the show, we're talking with Kurt Shaffer, owner of PGH Fly Co. out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Not a ton of water to fish there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but what he is doing with his company is really cool. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yep. We talk about all things fly tying and the creation process, Euro-nymphing, giving back to the community, and steelhead trout.
Let's do it, dude.
Hey, Kurt. Welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here.
Welcome, man. Good to have you on, brother.
I'm excited about it, man. I'm ready to go.
You're in Pittsburgh, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, about 15 miles north of the city in the suburbs. Sitting in my house. So works out. It's nice and warm in here. You know, it's not 10 degrees, so I can't complain.
I know, a cold snap sweeping the country.
Absolutely.
Are you getting lots of good water to fish at this time of year during this massive cold snap?
No, pretty much everything's frozen. Even up in the Great Lakes region, it's all kind of frozen or slushed up. So some guys are getting out. Whenever I was younger, I used to venture out in these conditions and, not catch anything, but I think I'm too old for it now. So I'll wait till it gets in the 40s.
Just wait, dude. Just wait. You're not that old. Just wait. It gets tougher and tougher to go winter fishing.
I'm sure.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
The colder I get, it's it never bothered me a couple of years ago.
Right on. Yeah. No, I got people. They ask me all the time, "Are you going? Are you getting out? Are you getting fishing?" Because I retired last year, and I'm just like, "No, not really. It's too damn cold. I'm not really getting out that much."
I don't care how many layers you put on me; it's still cold.
Yes. Yeah.
It makes for good tie-in weather, though.
It's great tying weather, man. I can sit down there and drink a hot coffee in my cold basement and look outside at the colder weather. It's great.
That's
nice.
Awesome. Well, why don't you start off by giving us a little background on yourself, how you got into fishing and all of that?
So I've been a lifelong fisherman. We have a stock trout season around here. We're not as lucky as some to just have wild trout everywhere. And don't get me wrong, Pennsylvania has plenty of wild trout, just not where I'm at. When I was 4, my dad took me out on first day of trout, and we caught some fish, and I fell in, and everyone laughed, and I got mad at them for laughing, but learned that lesson later that it is funny. Then the next year, whenever I was 5, he took me up to Erie to go steelhead fishing. I think my mom made him take me, but it's something we've done every year since. He used to get me out of school early on Fridays, and we'd go up to Erie for the weekend and stay in these sketchy hotels. But it was great. I mean, the fish were abundant. Hardly anyone, well, maybe not hardly anybody, but a lot less people fish back then.
Right.
So we'd go on the stream and see like 10 other people in a whole day. Now you see 10 other people on the stream. But it's been the one thing that's been a constant in my life ever since. I can't remember a time where I wasn't thinking about fishing or going fishing. Like, it's just always been there. So, I mean, 35 years later, 32 years later, I'm still at it. And I started a business like an idiot. And
that's great.
I wouldn't want to do it any other way, honestly.
That's right. That's right. Tell us about PGH. Tell us about what you got going on in starting a business.
Yeah, in 2023, it was wintertime, and I've been tying since 2014, and I'd post things on Facebook, and I'd start selling to family and friends. And I thought, man, I have a couple extra hours in the morning. If I get up early enough, I could start a business. And it just kind of took off from there. I started off tying pheasant tails, hare's ears, woolly buggers, the classics. And I'd post like the stuff that I'd come up with, and people were interested in that. So eventually I just switched to all I sell now is stuff that I came up with, or variants or patterns of mine. I even started selling my own dubbing from my kids' pet rabbits. And I don't know, it's been a lot of fun.
Cool.
It's been interesting for sure.
That's wild. So it's like a whole family ordeal. They raise the rabbits, you harvest the fur, and
oh no, I raise the rabbits. They just pet them every.
Okay.
Yeah, make no mistake. When your kid asks for a pet rabbit, you're doing most of the work.
That's fair.
It wasn't even me that got him for him. It was my mother-in-law. And so I don't know if you've ever tried to tell the sex on a rabbit, but they all look the same, and they all have the same behavior. Like the women hump the other women, the men hump the other men. It's hard to tell. We thought we might have had 2 girls.
Right.
2 months later, we ended up with 8 rabbits.
Oh man.
Boy. Oh boy.
So a month after that, we had 14 rabbits. We got it down to 4 now. We gave some away to people, gave some to a farm nearby. It's just multiplying like rabbits is just the most true statement I've ever heard.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I actually use a lot of their fur, especially in the springtime when they start to shed that winter coat. I'm out there with a brush and a bag, same with the fall.
Right.
So it's come into a lot of my fly.
Do you have to comb them, or does it just like fall off?
It'll just fall off, but I have this really fine brush that I'll just go give them a quick brush, and I'll just have bags full of fur. And even from there, cool. I'll wash it and trim it and dye it if I have to. It's just been a lot of fun. It kind of balances out the cost of the food and hay, so it works.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so when you are creating flies, I guess you said that you design them. I mean, what is your design process? I know you have a fly that is kind of like your signature fly, but
yeah, a couple of them, and most of it's either just I'll be at work and something will pop into my head, and I'll wonder if anyone's done it before, if this variant exists. Or the best thing I have is the Peterson's First Guide to the Insects of North America. It's been the best inspiration because they have these drawn out, a lot of them are aquatic insects that are very common. They have the size, all the details, information about them. And I'll just look at a picture and figure out what I have and see what I can come up with. And a lot of those have been really successful flies.
That's awesome. Have you always had... have you always had kind of that creative side to you? Or is it something that like you've developed like as a kid? Were you pretty creative?
It's always been there. I used to like to draw as a kid and as a musician in my, whenever I was a teenager. Then I started to paint a little bit. And it's always been in there. I just never gave it the full time that I have been. And seeing how much is in there and, and what comes out, it's been amazing. It's actually been really, really good for me. It's who would have guessed,
Right. Yeah, I think that creative, like when you can find that outlet, it's amazing what it does for the mind and the mental health and all of that stuff. Do you see any of that in your kids? Like, do your kids are they getting creative and doing stuff with it? Yeah.
My daughter's very creative. Her thing right now is she's been making slime out of everything. I don't know if you've ever played with slime. It's really fun to play with, but if that stuff is on like the carpet or the couch, it's over. But she
Right.
in the bathroom, there's a
Yes.
slime lab going on with different markers and colors and things she's putting in it. I mean, it's in there for sure. My wife's pretty creative as well. My
Nice.
son, haven't seen too much of it, but I bet it's in there. You know, we just
Right.
got to figure out how to bring it out of them.
Right. Yeah, I remember when I was a teenager, when I was in middle school and high school, the extent of my creativity was like drawing the Van Halen sign and the big Kiss bubble letters, you know, for the rock bands that I was listening to at the time.
Yeah.
But then once I started fly fishing and just like, you know, the creative nature of casting and having to figure out certain things and creative twitching of flies, and then I started tying flies. And I was never much of a creative person, but it gave me kind of that outlet that I discovered, you know, and I was much later. But yeah, it's just important stuff, I think, for everybody to find something like that.
For sure. I think it's been a great therapist. And to touch on something you said just about the creativity of fly fishing in general, it's a very creative thing because no two people fish the same. I can
Right.
fish next to somebody and they have a whole different outlook and a whole different strategy than I have, and we're both catching fish, both making it work. You know, if I mend the
Right.
line a certain way and the person next to me doesn't, we might both catch fish. It's just what's going
Right.
on our brains to make it happen.
It's so good. And I love like when you're observing that too and picking up, you know, things from other people, watching them, and you try stuff and
Absolutely.
sometimes the shit works and sometimes it doesn't, but it's always,
If it doesn't work,
doing
you don't do it again. You know, if it works, if you figure out how to make it better.
That's right. That's right.
And so when you are going through that iteration of creating a fly, you know, you mentioned before we started recording that one took you like 6 years to work through and you finally feel like you're dialed in on it.
Yeah.
Is it just like the act of tying it a different way and like just slightly changing something, like every little minor detail?
Kind of. Usually you come up with something, then you fish it and figure out what could be better about it. Some flies are great. You don't need to make them better, but some things you look at, and even though they're catching fish, you know it could be better. And it's just finding the right material or the right proportions. And it's almost like consuming in a way to where that's all I'll think about until I find that right proportion or right material, whatever it needs to be, until I'm satisfied with it. Yeah, this last one I've been putting a lot lately. I mean, it's been 6 years, and the original variant was great. You know, it caught a lot of fish, but this one, it's just I finally found it, and I can not touch it anymore.
So how do you get to that point of like, okay, you know, I'm done? I know, like I have my creative endeavors too. I paint and things like that, and you have to like at some point be like, all right, this is done. I can't keep doing this. What is the moment when you're tying a fly that like it can't get any better? Because it was obviously good before. You had to have been like, no, I could stop here. Like, how did you know it needed to be better?
I don't know how to explain it, but there's just something that's there, and you know when it's right, or you know when it could be better. You know it could be. I said, man, I went through like 8 different materials with this, and there's been one material that stayed consistent because I really liked the way it looked, but the other ones, it just wasn't right. And this past one I found and came up with, I don't know, it just clicked and it feels right, and the fish agree. You know, it's been
Nice.
pretty good. I don't know quite how to explain it.
It's when you finally went to the Kurt Shaffer bunny dubbing that then
That was it.
that was it.
That's actually kind of funny too, because I processed dubbing the same way for, I don't know, the better part of a year, where I would remove the guard hairs. And it was great dubbing. It was really buggy, but I left the guard hairs in one of the batches, and I don't see why I ever removed them. It is the buggiest, most easy to work with material. And I wasted all this time picking all these little guard hairs out with a little bit of nitrogen bag, getting them to separate, and even have to.
Wow.
But that's just the stuff you learn along the way.
Right. The trial and error.
Absolutely. And that's what I really like about it. And that's another part of PGH Fly Co. is I'm really trying to offer something that you're not going to get from anybody else. Like, I'll tell you the story behind the fly or the dubbing, and just how much time went into it, that I know if you buy something, from the fly shop that's already bagged up, that it didn't go through that process of trial and error and time. And I'll
Right.
never make the money back that, if you would compare it to the time that went into it, and that's fine. It's
Right.
not about the money. It's about, here's a product that I personally worked on that I want to, offer to you, and you catch fish with it. That gets the best thing ever to me.
Right. Talk about the legs thing that you have, those 6-leg, I don't even know what the hell they're called, but those are awesome.
What's weird is the Pittsburgh area has produced so many good fly tyers and companies and personalities when it comes to fly fishing, even though we don't really have many wild trout streams in the Pittsburgh area. You have to travel at least an hour to get to anything good.
Okay.
Legs has been a great company. They've been really good to me. I've used their product since 2017, and you could tie regular rubber legs on, and it would do the same thing. But I always say my job is to catch fish and fishermen, and it really helps catch the fishermen. I mean, one of those stonefly, like a stonefly, you can't deny that it's the exact same thing as a stonefly, and they work. They're great, but it's just one of those little tools that can just give your fly a little bit of an edge.
Right. Yeah, they look so realistic. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't see a whole lot of those around.
A lot. They're blowing up. They're getting huge. They've really grown the company in the last few years, so you're going to start seeing a lot of them. But,
right on. But that was like game changer.
Oh, for sure. They've been really good to me. Sure. Really good guys to work with, and they're 20 minutes away from me.
Wow, nice. They're local. So you got to drive an hour to get to good trout streams.
Wild trout streams. Like if you want to catch really brook trout or wild browns, you got to go up into the mountains. Like the Pittsburgh area, at least where I'm at. Like I'm in Westmoreland County, and there are wild trout streams in Westmoreland County, but I'm looking at 45 minutes at minimum to get to one. Usually an hour by the time you get to the good ones, which for most people without kids and stuff, it's not a problem. But anymore, like I got to segment my time. Like, all right, I got 2.5 hours to fish. I'm not going to drive an hour and a half to go throw a line in and hurry up and run back.
Right.
Pennsylvania's filled with wild trout streams, just not where I'm at.
Right.
Darn you, Pennsylvania.
I know. Mountain's closer, huh?
So when your flies, are your flies specifically tied to like your area, or do you think your signature flies would catch anywhere?
Absolutely. So a lot of guys from Tennessee will buy my golden stone flies, and they work great down there. Montana guys will fish some of the golds, but the black stone flies, and they do great up there. We have a lot of the same insects across the country that trout really like to snack on, and it kind of works out. Now, as far as, like Great Lakes steelhead are really specific. They like different things than West Coast, like the real steelhead. They eat different things. So, a lot of my steelhead flies probably wouldn't work well for West Coast steelhead that are actually going out into the ocean and coming back. And there's a big debate about that, and kind of right in the middle on it. But it's kind of, I would say it's kind of more driven towards East Coast anglers, but it'll work out west without a problem. The different fish hippies, I sent them some midges, and they killed them in Yellowstone with them. They did great.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, we hooked up with those guys when we were up there. Yeah. They're a good group of dudes. Fun. We did a podcast with one of them, and we were just out on Yellowstone Lake. That was awesome.
They're interesting guys, man. I always say they're living the dream. Every fisherman dreams of moving to Yellowstone and living off the lake for 3 months out of the year, and they're doing it. And they're writing the magazine, everything else too. Like they're staying busy, man. They're good guys. They've been big supporters since I started, and in turn, I've been big supporters of theirs.
Right. Yeah. Though that's the whole thing. I think, that's what we're trying to build, is that idea of community, right? And being able to help each other out and, connect with each other out on the water. that was one of the best parts about that. You contact somebody and you hang out with, you know what I mean? You message them in Instagram or whatever. But when we hooked up and had face-to-face conversations and fished, and it was great. It was really a fun thing,
And
to make those kinds of connections. And
absolutely. And we all have something in common. No matter who you are, we can find common ground on something. And whether it's fly fishing or something else, I mean, the fly fishing community's been amazing. Even some of the bigger names in it are just so nice and down to earth, willing to help.
right.
I mean, everyone's just been so cool.
That's good. Good. How is the fly fishing community there in Pittsburgh for you?
It's growing. It's not the biggest. So if you go to Erie, 2 hours away, it's really big because of the Steelhead. But in Pittsburgh, it's not booming. A lot of guys are just first day of trout, spin cast, Zebco warriors, and that's fine. I mean, that's how we all start out. Some people never go past that though.
Right.
But more and more, I would say, a lot of people that I've run into are people that I've known previously all of a sudden now fly fish, which is pretty cool. But it's getting out there. Absolutely.
Right. I first came across you on Instagram in a really cool thing that you did, more philanthropy type stuff, where after the hurricane, you connected and were donating some stuff and hooked up with another company to kind of do something for the fishing community that was devastated by the hurricane. Talk a little bit about that, because I think that's something that when something like that happens, I think about the poor people who lose everything, but the fishing community, and it's a big piece of it. And you guys really did some work with that. Talk a little bit about that and how that came about for you.
So I had an idea I was going to do 2 different packs. It was going to be a fly box or a couple game changers, and then t-shirts. I was going to sell them for $50 and donate one to North Carolina and one to Florida. I donated the one to Florida, and I saw Sun Tao was doing an auction where he would get different things from different manufacturers or tires. And I figured I could, quadruple this money if I teamed up with him. So I teamed up with him. He ended up raising over $12,000. It went to out of work fishing guides and fly shop owners and just people that never seen it coming. And how could you? I mean, I think giving back, at least at this point in my life, is a really important thing. I've been blessed. I have a house, I have a family. Some people lose that in a second. That's all it takes is a single second.
Right.
And to think that could get taken away in a second is just mind blowing. And it happens to a lot of people really quick. Who would think that a mountain town in North Carolina would get, wiped out by flood? That's just so crazy to me. And that's all it takes.
Super crazy.
That fast. So, I mean, giving back, like I said, I have another job. I have a career. This is my side business, so I can afford to donate the money or donate the flies or whatever it is. It's not really hurting me financially. And if I can team up with somebody else that can potentially quadruple that donation, I don't see why not. I mean, it's not so much about my name. Get that style, donate whatever you want if it helps somebody else out.
Right. And I think that's a big piece to the fly fishing community, I think, with, conservation and the stuff that we're doing, people do for the environment and the organizations that are doing all of those things. And I think that's one of the aspects of the fly fishing world, that I think sometimes gets overlooked. Some people are like, they've, historically, people are like, oh, the fly fishing world is for snobs, and that kind of came from, the aristocrats in England.
I thought that for a long time, and I can honestly see how it comes off that way.
Right.
But whenever you get down to it, there's just a lot of regular guys that are out there doing it too. Yeah, you got your
guys,
$100 weight or $1,500 fly rod guys, and even those guys are down to earth, But I could see how it comes off as snobby because I thought that for a long time. It wasn't until I picked up a $50 rod and $20, hip boots that I changed my mind on it a little bit. So,
yep.
No, it's definitely changed over time. I think it's gotten more welcoming and things like that. But there definitely was the lodge world of the upper class only type of thing. So, but I do think it's definitely getting better, and it's awesome to see people rally around,
For sure.
crisis like this and help one another out.
Absolutely. And I think that there's a lot more of that going on than people realize. I mean, there's people doing giveaways
Right.
and donating to charities all the time. A lot of people don't even want the recognition for it either. They just do it. And
Right.
that's amazing.
Well, that's the fishing world. I think is getting better and better at that. And it's good. And it's good to see that and be a part of that.
Absolutely. And I think social media helps a lot. As terrible as social media can be, there is a lot of good aspects that can come out,
Right.
especially in times of tragedy and times of need. People will really rally together. It's people you would never think would even donate anything. People are out there making it happen.
Right. And and the teaching too, and I think the wisdom that gets passed on, like when we were talking to Colton from, the degenerate fish hippies, he was talking about conservation, but the stuff that he's learned in his program about, building environments and things and fisheries and the importance of paying attention to some of that stuff. And, just learning from other fishermen who have a different take and perspective or more knowledge about certain things, like entomology and all that kind of stuff. That part of it too is fascinating when people can share those things. And I think the ability to connect with people, social media gives us that option to do that. It's a whole new avenue of being able to connect with people in different parts of the country. I've never fished in the Catskills or the Poconos or anything like that. And we've had multiple guests who have, given us their take on the different flies they use. And, and it's like, that's the kind of stuff that I just get enamored with, and love about our community, the fly fishing community as we start expanding it out. It's great.
Oh, for sure. And there's guys out there with so much knowledge, and just getting to pick some of these guys' brains. And even just in passing, like you ask somebody on a comment section and they'll throw out a scenario or something that you didn't know so quick, and you just wonder what else is in there. There's so much to learn about bugs and fish and nature that it's so much, and nobody knows it all, but we can all kind of come together and share the little bits that we know.
That's what I
And
love
all that,
about it.
picking a fly or picking a stream or what line you're going to drift. And there's just so much to learn, and so many people willing to teach it too.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and it takes initiative. I mean, the social media aspect does a good job of getting us in contact. I mean, we probably it would have been a lot harder for us to connect, come across each other's paths for sure.
Oh,
but
for sure.
You got to take that next step to go out and actually make those connections and just go beyond the for lack of a better word, toxic sides of social media, and actually get out in public and meet with one another and connect and see the humanity and what this sport brings and the community. So.
Yeah, for sure. Social media, I feel like, just kind of takes the human aspect out of it. And this isn't just with fly fishing, it's with everything. If you look through a comment section, like there's no humanity left in it. It just takes the aspect out of everything. So to actually meet people and connect on a personal level, I think is the biggest thing that goes into it. I mean, I can read through someone's bio or look at their pictures, but I don't know that person. I don't know what their voice sounds like. I don't know how they interact on a daily basis, and getting that connection is really important.
100%. Yeah. It's critical, we think, to getting us all back together, doing stuff in person together. And, speaking of that, it'd be awesome to get on the water together one day.
If we can make it happen, I'd be excited.
Yeah, we obviously won't come fish in downtown Pittsburgh, but if we were to come out to your neck of the woods, what would a trip with Kurt look like?
Well, I would probably take you to Erie to go Great Lakes steelhead fishing.
Nice.
So pretty much we would eat a lot of chicken wings and bacon and catch some steelhead and not have cell phone service, and that's about it.
Right on. I'm in for that.
We have a trailer up there that never stays warm, so it'll be fun, man. Bring some blankets.
Right on. You have a place up there.
Yeah, we've had a place for a while. Just a trailer, nothing fancy.
Right.
We've had it up there for 20 some years. We got a new trailer because the old one was starting to rot. It was a fishing
Nice.
camp for 20 years, and just this past maybe 3 years ago, we started to go up in the summertime and realize how nice it is up there in the summertime.
Oh, wow.
Now we take
Nice.
families up, but for years
on.
it was just a winter, smelly winter fishing camp, which was
Right on.
awesome. It did its purpose.
Right. Now, does your family own that? Was it like a real fishing camp that you owned and ran, or was it just?
It's in a campground, and we stuck a trailer on it. That's it.
Sweet.
But
Nice.
That's awesome.
yeah.
Now, I know that you can go steelhead fishing in the Pacific Northwest and go days and not catch anything.
Correct.
And you talked a little bit about the difference between the aquatics of the nature of that fishing. Is it similar Erie steelhead fishing?
Well, I've never went to the West Coast to catch them. I understand it's completely different. I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
Erie steelhead, they're just a bunch of dumb stock trout with a summer home. I mean, they aren't the hardest fish to catch. They can be tricky. Don't get me wrong. If if it's low and clear and they've been seeing egg patterns and everything else all day, it can get tricky. But honestly, if you get something near them, usually they're going to chomp at it. Just present it right.
I'm all in, dude. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Oh, yeah. Let me know. I'd be glad to take you guys out.
We'll definitely have to make it.
It'll be cold, but you'll blast.
That's good.
Heck yes.
What's the best time to fish up there? What time of year?
Anywhere from October to late April.
Okay.
But it gets so overcrowded. You'd almost have to go on a weekday. Social media really blew that place up, and it's good for the local economy, but the local fishermen hate it.
Right.
For
So
sure.
it kind of sucks because I go up there and they call them mup ears. Oh, I'm up here. I'm up here. That's all every phone call is. So I get lumped in with them, which sucks. And I try to explain, like, listen, man, I've been doing this since before you have. And I want to hear it. I get it. That would drive me crazy.
Sure.
Make a weekday trip out of it, a Tuesday or something where there's only 600 people instead of 1,200. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Right
I mean,
on.
it's fun. There's a reason people travel from all over to do it. You hook into one, man. You just hold on and you start shaking. Even now, I've been doing it for 32 years. I still get that adrenaline rush as soon as that float goes under. That strike indicator. I don't want to call it a bobber. It's a strike indicator. I'll get yelled at. But, it's a blast, man. It's fun.
Well, how about we wrap this up with the GFW hot seat?
All right. Let's go for it.
Welcome to GFW Hot Seat, where the name of the game is to answer the questions. And the prizes are... Wait, who said we have prizes?
What is one thing you're currently celebrating in life?
Just the fact that we're all healthy, but that's the biggest thing. We're all warm and healthy. I can't really ask for more.
Right on. That's good, especially with all the stuff that's going on around LA and right.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it really is you that, disaster can strike at any time. So as long as we're all good, I'm happy.
Right. I like that. Gert, give us one piece of content that you are currently, that you'd recommend to our listeners, a book, video, show, movie, anything like that, that you'd highly recommend to our listeners.
The Peterson's First North American Guide to Insects. If you're a fly tyer, it is a must-have. It has given me so much, and it's just a simple, $15 book.
Right.
But as the sizing, the details, the life cycles, it's phenomenal.
Right
I've
on.
learned more from that than anything else.
All right.
Awesome.
Fly tires of our community, listen up.
Yes.
Nice.
What is one of your favorite fishing memories?
So there's a place in Seward, Alaska, Homer, Alaska, on the Homer Spit, right where the deadliest catch boats go out of. It's the only place that you can snag fish in the country legally. So I have family in Alaska. We took a trip up and they kept telling us, like, you got to try the snagging hole. So me and my brother-in-law go pick up these giant weighted treble hooks, and we're completely out of our element. We have these big ocean rods pretty much and slinging these, 3-ounce treble hooks. And there was this 80 something, or she might not have been 80. She looked like she was 80. This old Inuit woman with this nice crocheted bag. And she tore us apart, man. We'd throw out, she'd start screaming, they're right in front of you. They're right in front of you. We're trying. We tried so hard to even get near a fish. And this lady is just ripping them in like crazy, man. Really a humbling moment, but they're fishing for survival. We weren't. It was different, but
Right.
just crazy.
Right.
That old woman was so disappointed in us.
That's fantastic. Oh, that is fantastic. What is one piece of advice you wish someone had given your 20-year-old self?
20-year-old self. Listen to other people. Listen to advice.
Right.
Don't think you know everything, because you don't, and you're going to find out the hard way multiple times. And I still do it now, many years later. But I learned to listen a little better anyway.
I think if you are in any kind of thing that resembles a good relationship, listening becomes more and more important.
You have to do it.
Right.
The early 20s are a tough age, man.
Right. It's almost inevitable. Like, you're going to get better. It may not be all that much better, but you're going to improve so much. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
just listening's the biggest thing, man.
Everything at 20.
Pretending to listen, you just got to look like half the time and you're good.
What is your definition of community?
Just people willing to help each other out, to step up. If something happens, like we ran a food bank, my friend owns a plumbing company. We did it last year and we got 25 people. So this year we were shooting for 50, and we had over 100 within, a half hour. And it's just people willing to step up. We were shocked at how many people reached out that wanted to donate money, food, time. And that's community to me. It's just people willing to put in the work.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome. What's one thing you've changed your mind about lately?
Euro-nymphing, I think. Honestly,
really?
Yeah. I haven't done it. I tie Euro-nymphs all the time and sell them.
Right.
The more I read about it and the more I see, I can't deny it. It's not going anywhere. It's very productive. We catch a crazy amount of fish. For the longest time, I just couldn't pay any attention to it. But now it's something, and it's just a whole different technique. I'm starting to kind of read about it a little bit.
You're not alone. I'm 100%. I've been reading more, and I was over. Yeah, I was over at the local fly shop and kind of talking to a guy, one of the guys in the shop, and he was like, and he was telling me all about it, and it's the same kind of thing. I'm like, I just have never given it much attention, and yeah, that's a good one.
I'm going to piss some people off by saying this, but it almost reminds me of what we used to do with the Zebco. You know what I mean? Like just the tight line aspect of it. It doesn't seem like it's fly fishing. I'm going to make so many people mad. It almost like more along the line of like traditional tackle. It's like a mix between the two, which is fascinating, and it works like crazy. I mean, deny its effectiveness.
Right.
But I definitely put my mind on it a lot.
Yeah. I'm about letting people be and do the things and create.
Absolutely.
I mean, if we didn't try different stuff and do these kinds of things and tack onto some of the stuff, we wouldn't, the whole thing wouldn't work. We wouldn't see some of the cool stuff we see. Right. So yeah, I agree with you. And then, the purists and the whatever who poo-poo it, I'm like, I don't know, dude. It catches fish. It's kind of cool. There's some aspects of it that are pretty good.
Those guys are good, and they're coming up with new techniques on how to do it. Josh Miller's another Pittsburgh guy. He is probably the number one Euro-nymphing guy in the world. He has so much knowledge, coming up with new ways, these dry dropper techniques and stuff. It's phenomenal. But I couldn't pay it any attention for the longest time. I said I'll tie them and sell them, but I won't use them yet.
Right. We'll get there.
So our last question comes from our previous guest, Kyle Kraske, the trout legend on Instagram. And his question to you is, have you ever taught someone who has been a mentor to you?
Have I ever taught? So I have one real mentor when it comes to fly fishing, and I don't think I taught him anything, honestly. Maybe. I'd have to ask him. That's a good question, though. I may have inadvertently taught him a couple things, but not that I know of. He's taught me so much. His name's Matt Ippoliti. He doesn't do a whole lot of social media. He's a fly fishing guide. It's like chance encounter meeting him, and he's phenomenal. He has so much knowledge, especially about tying. He'll critique my stuff, and it's the only person I'll take seriously. He'll say, "Well, you can do this or this," and I will follow that every time. And if he compliments something, it's like I won the lottery,
Right.
But I don't think I taught him anything. No, not yet. One of these days.
Right. I imagine if you're anything like me and my mentors, I'm sure I've taught them a lot about patience.
Yeah, probably go that route. Maybe. He's been impatient with me quite a few times, though. So.
I probably pushed the boundaries of patience with every one of my mentors.
He's a great guy. He really is. Just so much knowledge.
Right.
Cool dude, too. He's a strange one, and I like strange folks, so it kind of works out.
That's right. It's good.
Strange expands your horizons. So.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Give me all the weirdos, I'll take them all.
What is your question for our next guest?
If you died today, would you be happy with what you have achieved?
Ooh, nice.
And if not, why? And how can you change it?
Awesome.
Two-parter. I like it. Two-part questions are the best. Nice. That's good, dude.
Come up with a 3-part question.
You're gonna go 3-part. That'd be a first. We haven't had a 3-part. We've had a few. We've had a few 2-parts.
We'll schedule another podcast in 6 months. Take that long.
Heck yeah, we will.
Right on. Kurt, this has been great, man. It's been really good hanging out with you, getting to know you a little bit and what you're all about. How can people get in touch with you if they want to check out your flies and see you? How can they get in touch with you?
Honestly, through Instagram's probably the best way. Just PGH Fly Co. PGH like Pittsburgh. For some reason, it has an H at the end. No one could ever figure out why. www.pghflyco.com. Same with Facebook. It's PGH Fly Co.
Right on.
Easy to find.
Right on. Yeah, your website's great. The stories you tell on there, the interactions you have with people, the stuff you post on, it's fun. It's good stuff. So I love your authenticity in being who you are, and the way that you go about stuff is really cool. So it's been a real good time getting to know you a little bit. So hopefully we can get out and connect and go fish.
That would be phenomenal. I really appreciate the opportunity to do this. And, in the future, if you guys want to do another one, I'm down. We won't have these uploading issues that we're having today, but honestly, it's been a blast.
That's awesome. We're talking about trying, I'm very new to the world of fly tying. So we're talking about maybe doing some live tying stuff together. And so it'd be awesome if we all hopped on and did some live tying.
I'm so down for that. You just let me know when.
All right, cool. Yeah, just all of us sitting at a vise or shooting the shit and tying flies. I think that'd be fun.
Right. Yeah, that'd be a blast, man. I have to live stream it too. There people can watch it.
Yeah. Definitely.
No, that's great. It is a great hobby. I mean, it's become my way to start the day. And like I said earlier, if I don't do it, something doesn't feel right. To center my brain. And if you have any creativity whatsoever, you'll be just fine. I'll tell you what, though, start off with the classics and tie 50 of them. Save your first one always, and then see where you're at 50 flies later. And don't be afraid to piss around. Experiment a little bit. That's how I started this whole business, was just messing around. And you'll be surprised what catches fish.
Right.
They're not as hard to catch as everyone says.
That's good stuff,
awesome,
dude.
I'm enjoying it, and I appreciate the advice, and we'll keep going with it.
Fine, man.
Good deal.
Cool.
Great having you on, brother.
Yeah. Hey, it was a pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Talk to you soon, Kurt.
Yep.
I can't wait to get out to Kurt's fishing camp up in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Sounds so good, dude. And seriously, steelhead fishing in Erie, not what you think of when you think of steelhead fishing, but apparently they're dumb steelhead, which bodes well for us.
No doubt. Steelhead fishing would be awesome.
Right? you hear about so much about like steelhead fishing in the Pacific Northwest and how you can go 4 days without hooking a fish. This definitely sounds way better.
I know the excitement he says about just like getting into one of those and it running on him. I mean, that sounds like a hell of a time. And to do it with the flies that you're tying yourself, I mean, that's got to be a whole nother level.
It is. And the thing that I like a lot about that conversation, one, he's such a chill dude, but he really seems to have priorities right. He really seems to be in tune with fishing and how it plays a role in his world. But it's not like everything, you know what I mean? And it's really, he seems to have a great balance for what he's doing, and the tying flies and what it gives him, what it provides in his life. And then, you know, that balance of fishing and his family. But, that was a good conversation. Good dude. Can't wait to get with him on the water.
No doubt. Well, what are you celebrating today?
I'm celebrating, Ed, something that's kind of new in my world. Being Plan A. Let me explain. This week, as you know, I've been substitute teaching, and I signed up for a half day of substitute teaching this week. And this is at my old school where I retired from, so everybody know. I know everybody, whatever. But they had a situation where they were without a sub. I was working the morning, and they were without a sub in the afternoon. And when I walked in the morning, our secretary asked, you know, hey, is there any way you can stay and you can work the afternoon? You're my plan A. Plan B would be blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm not sure I've ever been anybody's plan A.
Yeah,
25 years in that building, I don't think I was ever plan A.
I mean, I went through like 4 co-hosts before I came to you. So, I mean, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So being plan A, that felt pretty good. Yeah.
Well, it does feel good. Pat yourself on the back.
I wasn't able to do it, but it was still, I was plan A, dude. I'm
gonna get you a little placard. Yeah.
I might get a shirt that just says I'm plan A. Yeah. Just get a t-shirt printed.
Sweet.
Yeah. It felt good. Yeah. So that was a little celebration. That was a little win this week.
I love that.
Reed was plan A. How about you? What are you celebrating, brother?
I am celebrating, I don't know if I've mentioned, I'm doing like a New Year's, just get rid of everything, midlife, just
purge.
Shit in my house, purge. And we've made some good progress around here. I mean, we're not out of the woods, but it's crazy.
I'm not sure you're ever out of the woods.
Yeah, I know, but
with that, but
it's getting to the point where you're like, man, this it actually feels good to have like no stuff in a weird way, right?
Right.
And I laugh because you sent me that video of Seinfeld, you know, talking about our houses are just trash processing plants, and every time I move something from upstairs to downstairs and downstairs to the garage and then the garage to the trash can, I'm like, yeah, he's dead on with it. It's crazy. But yeah, we're making progress.
That's good. Well, I'll tell you, it shows. Your bookshelf looks fantastic back there.
Thank you.
You know, the busyness that was your bookshelf is definitely looks way more chill. So it's good.
Thanks, man.
I love it.
I love it. It's a temporary holding ground for the way it's going to look, but I appreciate you noticing.
It's progress, baby. Good work.
Well, what are you navigating?
As you know, this week, my daughter was sandwiched in a car accident outside of her school. She was not at fault, but she was the middle car. The guy hit her. She hit the kid in front of her. And so her car was totaled. And, you know, the navigation of insurance and all that stuff is one thing, but it's really, really hard as a dad. Knowing what a car meant to me at the age of 17, she's a senior. She's got 3 more months till she's graduating, 4 more months, whatever it is. And like your car is like it's your independence, right? It's your, right. I can go whenever I need to just get out of Dodge or whatever, get out of the house. she's kind of lost that right now. And it's navigating that. I feel horrible for her. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
There's just that, dude, I know how important the car is to you when you're 17. It's like everything, right?
Right.
You hang stuff from it, you make it your own. It's part of your soul. And she's lost that. So helping her get through it, like even more so than like, the money. I don't care the insurance, way have car insurance, whatever. But just to see the loss, like we've had that car in the family for a while. My son had it and then she had it. And you know what I mean? So it's been a part of us. And so it sucks, dude, trying to get her through that. So we're navigating that, brother.
Yeah, you don't think about that when it comes down to the car, but that's a good observation for sure.
Yeah, it's real life stuff, man. So how about you? What are you navigating?
I am navigating trying to be extra intentional with this year and trying to get on the water more, make some more room for planning some more trips, get around to see people that we've had on the show and just get on the water and do more trips, as well as other things with my family as well. But just really trying to outline as much of the year as possible, because if it's not on the calendar, it's probably not going to happen.
Right.
And so
We
just
know
trying
that.
to figure out, So trying to figure out a good balance of making the most of 2025.
Nice. I'm in. It's a good one.
Yep.
That's a good navigation.
We got to make it happen. Getting on the water with people. If people are interested in getting on the water with us, reach out, because we're going to be trying to fish a lot this year. So
Yes, we are. Moving around.
Yep.
All right, bro. Another good one.
Another goodie. Talk soon.
Sounds good. Love you.
Love you too, buddy.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening. Make sure to visit our website, guysfishingweekend.com, to check out the GFW merch, sign up for our newsletter, and learn how to get involved with the community. We appreciate you spending even a little bit of your week with us and are glad to have you along on the journey. Stay legendary and happy fishing.